Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to NJPW Puroresu Review. I am your co-host, Andre C. Right over here, it's the epic princess herself. It's the bad bitch for Mina Shirakawa. It's Melball. How you doing, Melball?
I'm doing great, Andre. Shout out to Wrestling Wind Down. The women there are always putting out amazing content. This is a crap you can't tell because you just get me from bus stop. It's Tuesday, Andre. We were just discussing this. This is a problem. Tuesday. You know how much I love that number.
Yeah,
What a
I
day.
just revealed why Melball hates this day to her.
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
So odd. I never even thought about that. How are you doing today, my friend?
Even though it's Tuesday, but it's the third day of the week, technically. But it's the second day of the work week. But
Yeah.
I know a lot of people, like, I know on the calendar it's technically the third day of the week, but I know for a lot of people, they think of Tuesday as the second day of the week, and they, like, a lot of people think of a Monday to Sunday as their week, not Sunday
That's
through
true.
to Saturday. That's how my brain works. I feel like Sunday's the end of my week, like, overall.
Oh, no. I feel like Sunday's the beginning, not just because it's typically at the beginning of my calendar, but also because it's the beginning of my loathing that Monday is coming.
I try to enjoy Sunday before Monday shows up. So, but we're
Yeah,
not here to
fair.
talk about our hatred of the year. But we are here on Andre Melball Wrestling Talk and in audio form on A Plus Productions to chat about Wrestle Dynasty, featuring New Japan Pro Wrestling, CMLL, ROH, and the Money Marks Company, AEW. And I'm starting now because I'm not happy with this fellow. The reports that he is not involved, but I don't believe it in even the slightest. But okay, let's get into this. AEW, NJPW, CMLL, Stardom's involved in this too. ROH, all of it's here. Let's get into it. Kick it off. Wrestle Dynasty, the big show of them all. I guess for me, honestly, this was a show I was more interested in night one, because that was where majority of the matches I really wanted to see were at. So,
Yeah. I mean, you were talking about this one, Wrestle Dynasty, right? Or are we talking about Wrestle Kingdom?
Well, no, I preferred my interest in Wrestle Kingdom was higher, and honestly, after watching both shows, my enjoyment was I had more enjoyment out of Wrestle Kingdom, personally.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Again,
yes. Okay. Now I understand what you're saying.
But again, we are also Japanese wrestling homers. I am an AEW fan, but I like Japanese wrestling far more than I like AEW. And I think that's part of it, is half these people I'm not as familiar with, or I don't have as much fandom for anymore. Things like that. And that's the thing. And even to me, the biggest guys didn't come. So you're sending us the upper mid card tier and a main eventer in Kenny Omega, but you're sending us the upper mid card tier, not the main eventers. Only one of them. So
I mean, this is part of the reason why I'm on the fence with AEW. And I've had to after this show, I was like, what is it that pisses me off about AEW? And I realized it's not the wrestlers. The wrestlers, for the most part, are actually pretty decent, good at their jobs. It's it's the booking and lack of continuity running it that pisses me off, because I am one of those people who, if you're putting on a 9 to 12 match show, I need to have at least 3 of those matches have strong stories behind them to keep my interest. And I feel that that's pretty low ratio, because that means you got 6 to 9 things of bullshit that you can do with all the frat boy nonsense. Because that's partially also why I'm having some issues with AEW. It just seems to be um a more funded version of an indie wrestling promotion, where if you get in with the owner and you're like buddies with him, like the Bucks, like Kenny, like Moxley, there's a lot of select people in the locker room who seem to be given a lot of opportunity instead of earning the opportunity. And the people who are earning the opportunity are being given great opportunity, but always having that just fall short moments. They
Mhm.
have been doing better, I'd heard over the last 7 or 8 months, but again, I've watched the product on a regular basis. I watch their pay-per-views.
Hmm.
So, for me, I look at the pay-per-views and go, "This has to be because they're a pay-per-view and I'm paying more to see it, that has to be the best of your best."
Mhm.
And when I'm seeing the pay-per-views, I'm seeing some really great shit. Now I'm also seeing some shit that I'm like, "So, did somebody just let the frat boys loose into the ring?" And that's so it's like some of the stuff makes sense, some of it doesn't. The stuff that makes sense really makes sense and is really great. But there's a lot of other stuff that's just kind of feeling like there's an alchemist standing in front of a pot just going, throwing things into it, and it's just exploding everywhere, and we're getting AEW.
Yeah, and for me, it's just about a year and a half ago, the TV just stopped interesting me. I still watch pay per
Mm,
views. I tune in because when Osprey's in a big match and stuff like that. But like
mm,
the storylines, I just stopped caring about in AEW. When you turn a pay per view on, they're the best pay per view company going because you put on a pay per view on. I say 75% of the matches on that show are fire and absolutely deliver. Where
mhm.
their TV to me just doesn't anymore. And again, that's I've watched episodes here and there, and I don't know, I just don't find myself caring. That
No,
is my
you've been a
biggest
part of
issue.
the audience
Yeah,
on an AEW show this year, and we got to see Mina Shirakawa.
Kyle
She
Fletcher.
just ran in, she didn't fracking do anything, but she was there.
Fletcher was there, and people we love
That
from
was
New
a
Japan and
great match.
from Japan. But for me, I was still
Oh.
like half the show. I was still like, okay, great, yay! But it wasn't.
Mhm,
Yeah, it's just the feelings I get right now, and the crowd didn't
mhm.
help trying to take over promo time either because Edmonton was in
Well,
the
if
playoffs
the
and they're
promos are
dickheads.
good, we have no reason to interrupt them, but if we f Edmonton's a rough crowd. If we feel our time is being wasted, we let you know. And unfortunately, the promos we got were being done by people who really weren't that charismatic.
Yeah.
So they were more, and also they just had the unfortunateness to also be running a show the same night as an Oilers game.
Mm.
So not
Yeah,
their
but
fault. It's not
but
like we
again,
could have planned around that, but
and that's part of the reason we're not as big fans of the American product as much as we are Japanese wrestling. Which, like, don't get me
yeah.
wrong, the storytelling's not always perfect in Japan, but the storylines are
No.
just simple, easy, and fun,
Mhm.
and they interest me. I don't know. It's there's stuff that I don't like. It's torture. Get ready, but we're some show coming out next week.
But
It's gonna be
yeah,
interesting.
let's talk about the Chaos Hantai conglomeration.
Yeah.
Bullshit. That's just bullshit. There's a lot of stuff that we don't like in Japan as well. For
Hmm.
myself, I've just become very disenfranchised with the North American content, so I honestly don't watch it. I only watch the pay-per-views for AEW regularly. I don't watch WWE regularly, though I've been
Once a
hearing
year,
very good
once or
things.
twice a year, I watch it.
Mhm.
Mania and
Yeah,
Rumble.
that's usually us together,
Hmm.
like with our horde. So, I have been hearing good things. I heard that the Raw had some odd changes, but some really interesting era turnabouts that I'm excited to hear about. Maybe they might be able to win me back. So far, the only one that has really earned back my attention that I'm excited to see, oddly enough, despite their reviews, Ring of Honor. That's why I'm joining Auntie Collins on the Honor Ramble.
Oh wow, that's gonna be interesting. But I got
It
and what before
is.
we one more thing before we get in here, it's Japanese wrestling related. Big shout out to Julia who just won
Yeah.
the NXT Women's Championship tonight as we record. This is Tuesday, and
Hey,
she is now the NXT Women's Champion. So congratulations to former Stardom
that didn't
and
take
Mari
long.
Gold wrestler. Yeah, no, yeah, it's her second shot at the title and she won it. So
Hey,
There we go.
that's our girl.
All
That's
right,
our girl.
if we want, let's talk about more of our girls because we're going to
Yes.
chat the International Women's Cup. It's Persephone from CMLL, Momo Watanabe
Mm-hmm.
from Stardom, Willow Nightingale from AEW, and former New Japan Strong Women's Champion, and ROH Women's Champion Athena, who hasn't
Mm-hmm.
been pinned in a long time. Hint, hint. I'm just gonna get to the finish here because I didn't honestly. I've watched this show, watched these first couple of matches while I was eating dinner. I just got the endings written down. Willow hitting a Death Valley driver into the corner of Momo. Athena off the top with the O face to Willow. But
Mm-hmm.
Thekla pulls out the ref to stop the pin. Athena is pissed. Willow has rolled out at this point, and because Athena's distracted by Momo or by Thekla, she turns
Mm-hmm.
around into a bat shot to the face, and Momo hits Peach Sunrise on the ROH Women's Champion, who hasn't been pinned, as far as I know, in a couple of years, who hasn't taken a major loss to this in a couple of years, for the win. Yeah, I expected it like that. I just did not expect Athena to take the fall in this match. It's setting
I
up great
didn't
stuff,
either.
but
It is. Yeah, that was the only thing that I was saying about this match and would have made when we were talking about it after. I'm like, the only reason that this would make sense is if they're setting up Momo to challenge Athena for her ROH Women's title. That's what she has, right? There's two. There isn't there, or is there just the one? Yeah, there's two because
ROH
there's
Women's
said one.
Championship and ROH Television Women's Television
Right,
Championship.
right, right.
Yeah,
I
Red
should
Velvet.
probably
That's all.
learn that.
Yeah, but no, and the thing is, they didn't even set up Willow versus, or not even set up Athena versus Momo. They set up Athena versus Thekla for the ROH
I
title
mean,
on January 11th in Stardom, or January 13th in Stardom. Sorry. So.
you know what storm is coming. You know what storm is coming. Is we saw this literally happen on this show where the partner, the number two, if you will, or number one, I don't know what the leader considers themselves. Um, the you send the right hand person to deal with a problem when the right hand can't deal with the problem, you send the big guns.
Mm.
So I suspect that's what we're probably setting up, which is unfortunate because I love Thekla and I think that she would be the perfect person to be able to kind of put her foot in the door for stardom wrestlers and being a very effective mouthpiece for Hate Club. I hope that's what they start calling themselves. When hate actually starts invading North America, which I think is an only amount of time. I really hope it's amount of time
Mm.
because I feel like women's wrestling needs a really good heel faction. And what I'd love to see is them take hate all the way through North America and build it up to something for Rep Pro. Because I would love to see hate take on the Cutthroat Collective.
That'd be pretty sick.
Yeah.
I got to give props to Persephone here. Again, I had no prior knowledge of her, and she was so
Yeah.
smooth in here, worked so well with
Oh, yeah.
everybody. And again, there's language barriers in here. I know Persephone does speak English, so she can communicate well with Willow and Athena, but
Mhm.
Momo's Japanese. She doesn't speak a lot of English. And so like having and so it's interesting to see how smooth everybody worked in here, and just people that hadn't
Mhm.
worked together before. It just I thought this match was a really fun way to open the pre-show.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, I actually had talked to somebody about that with the language barrier inside the ring because everyone does call things certain different ways and different meanings. So yeah, it's very, very cool to see how that was not a factor here, and they had such a perfectly fluid, just organically chaotic match. And when I say organically chaotic, that's a compliment because
Hmm.
these things aren't supposed to feel so structured that it suspends our reality. It's supposed to be a fantasy within the reality. And these girls did it
Yeah,
perfectly.
I think so too. So Stardom has 1 point on the board because I tallied this. So I'll tell you the tally. We'll tell. So
Uh-oh.
we move on. It's an ROH versus New Japan clash for the ROH Tag Team Championships. It is the Sons of Thekla, Sammy Guevara, and Dustin Rhodes versus House of Torture, Yoshinobu Kanemaru, and Show. Um, This is Dustin's first Tokyo Dome in 21 years. When he last worked the Tokyo Dome in 1993, teaming with Scott Norton, and the year before, in 1992, he worked the Tokyo Dome event here for New Japan with his father, Dusty Rhodes.
Well, that's fun. Well, that's a
Yeah,
nice memory.
they were
Nice sentimental moment for him.
and they did mention that on commentary too, which I like the little info that they did give here on commentary for that. I was like, oh, that's great. And now he's back with his adopted son, Sammy Guevara. I don't know. It's the best. Like,
Yeah, you can tell that one's adopted.
and Sammy and Dustin are out in their Wolverine and Deadpool gear that they debuted. Was it All In? I think when they brought that gear out. Yeah, it was in the summer they debuted that gear. So
Did Sammy debut at the same time that Cage had brought out his, and they both were Wolverine in the same fracking match?
yeah, because it was Wolverine versus Wolverine. That's what it was. I remember that.
Yeah.
So I thought they had a good match here. Dustin's he's in the mid-50s, but he's still solid in that ring. Sammy flying all over the place, showing and Kanemaru trying to pull a lot of their shtick. There was no outside interference, which I did appreciate here because the night before was pretty bad. But yeah, again, I thought it was a good, solid match here. The end of this match, Kanemaru gets a swig of the whiskey. Dustin stops it. The ref gets tossed into Dustin, and he does like gold dust, like rubbing up his body that he used to do back in the day, and like kind of pushes the ref aside. So the ref goes down, and Kanemaru gets a sanitary surprise, but only gets two. He goes to the top for it's the moonsault to Dustin's knees that he's been working on throughout the match, but only gets two. Kanemaru goes up, goes for deep impact, but misses. And Sammy out of nowhere with the cutter, follows it with a super kick, and Dustin hits the Dustin Destroyer. He then takes a shot of the Santori Surprise, which from everything I hear, this man is a sober person. So having him take a shot of the Santori Surprise was surprising, but he did spit it out right into Kanemaru's face. Sammy hits another super kick, and Dustin hits Final Reckoning with Sammy coming off the top with the super duper swanton, because I love how Sammy flies off the top, and like that high, that the jump he gets in, and like the arc that he gets on his swanton looks so good. And Dustin gets the pin for the win. ROH 1 point, Stardom 1 point so far on the night.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a fan of Sammy. I'm not the hugest fan of Dustin either. So like, I was kind of like, oh yay. At the same time though, there was only like a moment where I was like, am I ready for House of Torture right now? No, no, no. I sat down until I felt better. What the hell? That being said, I didn't have any particular spots written down. The only thing that I noted was that there was a couple points. Kanemaru was quicker than Sammy. He was already up on his feet and waiting for Sammy while Sammy was still getting up off the ground or something like that. So I was like, huh? 40-something-year-old still got it. Right. Also looking jacked. He was this Wolverine in this one. Yeah. That's all I got to say on that.
Yeah. So we move on to the Lucha Gauntlet match. First match on the pay-per-view proper, or the main card proper. It's an 8-man. It's a casino battle royal. It's AEW's Casino Battle Royal featuring New Japan and CMLL guys. So the first two guys could have ended this match in the first minute. If one of them had pinned the other, the match would have been over. And it just would have ended, and the other 6 wouldn't have come out. That's the
I'm
rules.
happy it didn't go that way.
Me either. So first two out are Hichisero, who actually was scheduled for a CMLL event this weekend, but I guess they switched it up and got him to Japan. And then Kosei Fujita, who I feel is the one person in this match that wasn't supposed to be here. I feel like he was an addition for New Japan side because Doki is out injured. Because I feel like Desperado and Doki both would have been in this, and the other two New Japan representatives I feel would have been in this. And so I feel like Kosei Fujita is an addition here. Like I feel like he's the odd man out if you think about everybody here.
We had like a Clerks moment there where he's like, I'm not even supposed to be here today.
I love that movie. Soberano Jr. from CMLL is out there. I know Mel. That's the one Mel was calling for to be in this match. We get a Dingle Dangle by Hechicero. And
Yes,
Soberano off the top, hitting a leg drop to Fujita in the Dingle Dangle. That was so good.
his poor face. His poor
Mhm.
face.
Beautiful Fosbury flop by Soberano to Hechicero on the floor. That was really good
Mhm.
too. Master Water out
You
number
forgot
4.
to mention that Soberano Jr. also dressed up as Jesus.
I just thought
Literally.
he just looked like a random luchador in white to me. I don't know.
With a crown of thorns on his head.
Oh, I must admit I wasn't paying attention to that. Everybody kept saying he was Jesus, but I'm like, okay, maybe that's his gimmick, and I just didn't understand.
No. He just has these like really neat gear. I don't know a whole lot because I can't understand Spanish. But like one minute he's dressed like the devil, now he's dressed like Jesus. I don't know what's going on.
I look at it and it's like
Identity crisis.
I didn't even notice the crown of thorns because I'm
Well, it
so
was the
oblivious to
entrance
that shit.
gear. He took it off after he
Yeah,
came in.
I wasn't paying attention to what he was wearing on his way out. Master Water number 4. There's a great spot with Silverado and Wato trading chops. That was just yeah.
Yeah, did you see Watto's pale ass? Every fingerprint, not even finger outline, every fingerprint from Soberano Jr. you could see on
Mm-hmm.
that poor pale man's chest.
Mm-hmm. The young Mascara Dorada out next from
Mhm,
CMLL, flipping everywhere, flippy, 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 flippy. This guy is crazy with how much he
mhm.
flips. Uh,
So good.
the legend Taiji Ishimori representing New Japan out number 6. Yes, he's the legend.
Mhm, mhm.
Beautiful back handspring cutter by Ishimori to Dorada. I really did
Yeah.
enjoy that. Yeah, he does get
Mhm,
he gets the shoulder breaker, then hits La Mystica into the bone lock, but Dorada does
mhm,
ropes. Teton out number 7, representing CMLL and New Japan because he is member of both rosters. Um, just great stuff. Then him and Dorada kind of work really well together here. I thought how they work through with each other. And then out
mhm.
number 8 is your new IWGP Junior Champion El Desperado. Everybody lining up. Despy gets in and he just gets beat by everybody. Just and like some of the moves they were doing, I was like, oh, what's this? They were putting him on their shoulders and then just went huh, and threw him to the front like where Wade
Well,
Barrett's wasteland. And I was like,
he's
what?
got 7 other moves to take, right? You can't pop off all your crazy shit on the poor guy.
There was 3 wastelands. It was Hitsura Death Valley Driver, Wada with a wasteland, Teton hit his weird spinning slam, Soberano hits a wasteland, then Ishimori hit a wasteland, and then Fujita gets the scoop slam. 3 wastelands. It's the worst move I've ever seen in my life. It was the worst finisher I had ever seen a guy do in the WWE. Again, so many crazy shit. There's Tope con Hilo from Fujita. Ishimori hits that triangle moonsault, the Kodabushi triangle moonsault to the floor. Tornillo by Soberano. Springboard moonsault by Teton. Wado hits a tope on Hilo. Dorada, I guess, hits a middle rope springboard shooting star press to everybody on the floor. It was crazy. Just
Mhm.
insane. To the end comes Fujita ends when Desperado gets a crucifix for 2. Fujita comes in, gets a pin, then gets a Romero special, but Ishimori breaks it up and pins Desperado for the win. Fujita is pissed because he's just got another win stolen from him. TJP did it to him in America. Ishimori did it to him here. It was funny.
I mean, yeah, because look on his face. He's like, "What the hell?" And like, wasn't he shoving too? He was trying to shove him and get in his face after. I feel for the guy. Because yeah, he did all the work for the vets to run in and just swipe it out from underneath him. But that being said, this shows us what Fujita needs to work on. He needs to work on his ring awareness. He needs to be aware where every human being is so that this stops happening to him because he's got the skill and ability to be a champion. He's already an IWGP Junior Tag Team Champion with Robbie Eagles. He just needs to work on these little kinks. But like already, it's crazy to think he's been wrestling professionally for how long? And he's
Years
already
now.
doing so well.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Well, just think about this. He went on his excursion last fall, or not last fall, the fall of 2023 to Australia for 2 months, and then came back and has been working full time as a regular guy on the roster. So, and he's already and he already has the title. So, yeah.
Very, very special wrestler there.
We'll talk about Ishimori again at the end of this show. We get a 5-minute exhibition bout. Katsuyori Shibata versus Hiroshi Tanahashi. This is supposed to be a grappling rules match, and it started out grappling for like the first minute and a half. They just had each other in a lockup. And then they broke. And then they decided to chop the hell out of each other for the last 3.5 minutes of this match. Tana does try to get a dragon suplex, but it doesn't work, and they just keep chopping. And they chop. And they chop. And again, it was great. It was a good time. There's really nothing to it, but it's a good time. The bell goes. They kind of get in each other's faces. They then step back. Shibata offers a handshake. They shake. They hug. They bow to the crowd together, and they leave. That's really all it was.
I feel like your little review there at the end of it was just like, you remember Hercules, the Disney movie? Hades? We kiss, we hug, we schmooze, we go home. Everyone's happy.
There you go.
James
James Woods, man.
Yes. Perfect. Yeah, I only have one note, titty tenderizers.
Yep.
That was the most predominant thing in this match. It was really awesome to see Katsuyori Shibata. This was a stark difference in wrestling technique from when we saw him facing Tommy Billington. Very obvious the difference in wrestling ability now in Tanahashi versus Tommy Billington. Interesting comparison, right? Because I think Tommy is like half Tana's age, but still.
Yeah, and a part of it, I think, is New Japan is like, while he has been wrestling for AEW for like a year and change, a year and some now, New Japan's still wary because he went into business for himself. At least that's the story, back in 2022 with that match with Narita. So moving into a real match, and that was the last time we had seen him until now. So again, that was the story they were telling on commentary. We don't know if that's the real story. But again, we'll see. And he did indicate wanting to go again with Tanahashi. I maybe outside of New Japan over again. It'll probably be like an AEW match at some point for Tanahashi. There's still Forbidden Door. Maybe you get these two at Forbidden Door. That'd be kind of, I think, a good match for Forbidden Door.
You know, if you told me that like a month ago, I'd be like, really, we're gonna trust Tana with that. Tana has been walking better. And I know it sounds odd to say because of something so simple, but it's like if you can't walk, you can't really run the ropes. You can't run the ropes. Should you really be in the ring? That's something we should probably discuss when we get to Did You Know What?
Yeah. So we're there. We will. And so NJPW won, ROH won, Stardom won, and one for no contest.
Perfect.
We move on to one of the matches I was most anticipating on this show: NJPW Women's Strong Championship and the RevPro Undisputed British Women's Championship, which pretty much referred to as the British Women's Championship the whole time. Mercedes Mone with the strong title versus Mina Shirakawa with the RevPro title. AEW versus Stardom here. Even though it's a New Japan versus a RevPro belt, it's AEW versus Stardom, which is funny. Mina looking great.
Funny.
Mina's got this nice new pink gear on. Yes. I love the robe. Mone came out in this like white dress, and I'm like, okay, interesting. And she pulls it off.
It's Sailor Moon. It's Sailor Moon.
I realized that after. And then when she pulled the dress off, and I realized, oh, she's going from the princess to Sailor Moon. And I didn't
transformation.
I didn't like what she was wearing. I'm like, oh, it
And then
looks
she
so.
took it off.
Yes, but then because I didn't, I thought like, man, this is one of the worst gears you've had. It doesn't look weird, but it just doesn't suit you. And then she took that piece off to reveal the Sailor Moon cosplay, but in her version of gear. I'm like, okay, there we go. Okay, that makes way more
Mhm.
sense. Yeah. Again, I
It
thought
was
these.
really, really nice. Just sorry to real quickly comment on the gear. It was really, really nice, but it wasn't my favorite variation of her Sailor Moon
Mm,
gear. I think Astrid was the one who told me her or showed me her Royal Rumble, WWE Sasha Banks Royal Rumble gear.
mm-hmm,
That gear was
mm-hmm. Yeah.
that gear was very special, but this gear was still really, really nice, and I like how she transitioned into the change. It was like she was trying to emulate the Sailor Moon transformation on TV in the ring, and I love and appreciate that.
Yeah, I,
Continue.
I I did too. Again, I thought these two had a really good match. Mina really working on the knees of Mercedes throughout here,
Mhm.
lurking
Mhm.
with her knee bar, twisting the knees up, really smashing the knees into the mat a lot. Mone just working through a lot, like really going to that meteora a lot, but it helped really tell the match. Every time she do a meteora, she'd grab her knees after and like be writhing in pain. So it told a really good story there because this is one of her biggest offensive moves, but Mina's really making her pay for using it, which I really did like
Mhm.
out here. There is a nice Mone reverses like a lift into her own lift on Mina, hitting this double knee Ishimori style lung blower, like it was out of the Tombstone style, and just boom right in. I was
Yeah,
like, I was like, man,
so
she's watching
good.
her Taiji Ishimori matches. I like it. I like it. Mina working
Mhm.
over that figure four throughout. Um,
Mhm.
Mone working out of one and getting her and rolling her into and getting her up into the three amigos. I thought really good spot there.
Mhm.
Mina fights back after Monet goes to the top. She hits a spinning back fist to her on the top rope, and she goes up and hits that beautiful avalanche implant DDT off the top. I really like. I was like, oh, nice. Um, Mina getting the sling blade off the top at one point and follows it up with another implant DDT. Again,
Mhm.
glamorous driver Mina, but Monet kicks at 2.99. I thought it was over there. I was ready to celebrate, and I was like, no, you broke my heart. Just the ending comes. Mina flips out of the backslide, Mina flips out of the backslide and gets her up into and hits a gory special. And I'm like, oh shit! So I thought she was going for Monet Maker, but she just did a gory special. Goes to the knee bar into the figure four, but Monet then like cradles her into a pin for two. Monet then gets the backslide for two, then into a small package for two. She then gets Mina on her back, spins her out for a money maker. She didn't quite get all of it, and she gets the win.
Maybe it's because I don't watch the product that I don't really know her finishers that well,
Well, it's that one she
but
says on their back and then spins her around to DDT her, and I'm like, only been a few times she's hit that
oh.
successfully. Yeah, we were talking about it with the Hazuki match too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. She struggles with that one. I feel like that's something that you bring out on this is gonna sound a little mean saying, but like you have to be honest and not sugarcoat everything so much. So like, because diabetes. But like, oh, I lost my train of thought on that.
Her
Shit.
finisher. Her finisher.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, so she needs to use it on more experienced people, and Mina is a good experienced person to do it on, but so is Kyrie. So I don't, I don't know what the problem is where the move is kind of getting kerfuddled, but I do find that the less experienced person in the ring that she tries that move on, that I have seen it, it's not good. It doesn't turn out well. So I don't know, maybe but I don't know, she'll figure it out. I mean, or she won't, and she'll just keep winning titles for us.
Been a year and a half, or been over 2 years of her trying to figure this move out. Let it
Yeah.
go. Just give us some. Just come up with something that you can
Elsa.
hit on. But weirdly, the best person I think she's ever hit it on was Willow, and that's the biggest person she's hit
Interesting.
it on, which is weird.
Hey,
But
maybe that's the thing. maybe that move is just really, really complicated to do on really small people because the two people that I mentioned who are very experienced, Kyrie and Mina, would probably be the smallest.
It's also like the Momo match. It didn't look good. Like it's I think
Almost
it's
comparable size to her too, though.
yeah, but even there, it didn't look that good. Where it's just, I think it's people have to be in perfect unison for this move to hit properly because you have to spin somebody else back,
It's
you have
not
to
an out
spin
of
and
wear
grab the
move,
DT,
yeah.
and it's the coordination, and she just had with most people, the coordination is not there. It's
Mm.
just simple. And again, it's time. And so many podcasts I listen to when they talk about her during that finish, a lot of people have been praising her for this, especially this last half of 2024, and what
Mm.
she's really been killing it. But everybody's problem seems to be that Mone maker, and it's just she hits
Mm.
it in such a it doesn't hit frequently, and that's the problem.
Mm. Well, I mean, I guess what it comes down to is how much does she work these people or how much is run through
Mm-hmm.
with that before it happens. And maybe, maybe she'll listen to the people and be like, yeah, maybe I should re-review that. And she'll team up with some people. I mean, who's that bearded guy who everyone gets these really awesome moves from? That bald guy.
I
He
don't know.
would pop up on my.
Everybody steals from Kenta, so I don't know. Go for GTS. I don't care. I don't know.
I was gonna say it. She would probably rock a GTS. Why the hell not spinning back fist? Kyrie Sane
Well,
makes
don't steal
living
Mina's.
on
Don't
that.
steal Mina's. Don't steal Mina's move.
Well, arguably Mina might have taken it from Kyrie because Kyrie was doing it before Mina. So it's
That's
like,
true.
yeah, we could. I mean, we could. What I want to say is that I am disappointed
Mm-hmm.
because I wanted to see Mina win, and I felt like Mina has been working insanely hard, traveling all over the place, not just to America and back, but to the UK. She's defended those belts quite a bit since earning them.
Mm-hmm.
My hope is that Mercedes does the same thing and goes over there quite a bit to defend it because the fans of Rev Pro deserve that. They
Mm-hmm.
deserve to have their champion there. That's what they pay to see. They pay to see their champions. So if she can't be there every show, I totally get it, especially if they run weekly. I don't know how much they
Mina
run.
wasn't there for every show either, but she showed up for a couple
No,
times for defenses. So
exactly. So I'll be satisfied being that she puts in the same work.
mm,
I need to see that same work. Otherwise, I'll be satisfied. But that being said, we can't let Mina's momentum stop at this because she just moved to a new country because of this uh, amazing thing that we call professional wrestling. And it's my impression. I don't know if I'm correct in this, but I'm under the impression that she's probably heading for the AEW Ring of Honor conglomerate. So if that's the case, I'm not gonna lie, selfishly, I want her in Ring of Honor. Not just because I'm watching that show, but because as a Japanese wrestling fan, I know I'm gonna appreciate the work a lot more and give her the coverage that she deserves. But man, oh man, I hope that she doesn't become another one of those pretty little things that a certain magpie over there is collecting just to put on shelves to say that they have it. We can't have this. We need these wrestlers wrestling.
yeah. So we move on to one of my favorite
Oh,
matches on this show, and I was expecting good things, but man, this one really delivered for me. It's David Finlay representing New Japan Pro Wrestling versus Brody King representing AEW. Former New Japan Strong wrestler Brody King. Before he joined AEW, he was working regularly on Strong throughout the pandemic and everything. So yeah,
mhm, mhm,
came out in that red and green camo. I really like with the mask up and everything. Not doing his House of Black gear, but he's just more kind of just being I'm Brody King here. He's still
mhm,
representing House of Black, but he's out in the camo. I really like that.
mhm,
Finley kind of
mhm,
more subdued tonight than he was from his entrance the night before. Kind of after the loss, you kind of see him almost taking stock. This match was great, man.
mhm.
These
Mhm.
two just like King really in control for a lot of this match. Really using his power, but Finlay really trying to use his power, and he is very like he's got a lot of power for his size, but he
Mhm.
is outsized and outpowered a lot in this match. Man, there's a great plancha by
Yeah.
Finlay that's caught, but Finlay gets off the shoulder, sending King to the post. But he goes to spear King into the barricade. King just sidesteps him, and he just goes smashing in. It was crazy, and he gets put in the chair. And King gets a running start and crossbodies Finlay in the chair into the barricade. It looked so rough, and I loved it so much.
Mhm. Mhm.
We'll talk about shit getting rough and me maybe not liking certain things. But man, this is the kind. If you're gonna get rough stuff, this is the kind of rough I like in a match. So, but yeah,
Mhm.
so many good stuff. Gato yelling at Finlay, swearing at him in English for him to get his shit in gear and get and do better. Like he was getting heated here. And you don't hear Gato yelling and swearing like this. That's a Finlay thing.
No. Yeah, typically, yeah. Gato, the cheerleader girlfriend you didn't know you needed.
Yeah. I'm just gonna jump to the end here. This match was really good. I do highly recommend it. I know a lot of people write off David Finlay. This guy has
Mhm.
become insanely good. Like we've been talking about him
Mhm.
for the last couple of years here, how good he's become. Finlay calls
Mhm.
for overkill, but King gets him up and hits a Death Valley driver into the corner. He starts barking like a war dog. King does, and he hits the cannonball in the corner, puts Finlay up top, chops him. King tries to superplex, but Finlay fights him off, hits a sunset flip over the top, but he can't get the power bomb, so he just lifts him and drops him face first into the corner. Then he does
Mhm.
get him up for a power bomb. He then follows with the overkill for the win, and I wrote that was fucking great. That was my reaction to the end. I thought these two killed it.
This was a great match. This
Yeah.
was a really great match. You got pretty much everything that I got except for there was an inside out lariat that Brody King hit on Finlay when Finlay attempted a redirection on him
Mm.
running the ropes. Just stuck his arm out and just whoosh. Finlay
Mhm.
pretty much destinoed himself around it.
Oh, so good, man.
So good. It was so good because David Finlay, again, you said, we've been talking about him a hot minute. The transition that he went from this like fun loving Finlay with Juice and flamboyant Juice to Juice abandoning him, turning into what is he now? What is he?
He's a bang bang gang.
The Bang Bang Booty Gang.
He's a bang banger.
But what was didn't he have a little fun name? I just find it ironic that they parted ways and then have somehow, in a weird roundabout way, have still found their way back to each other. Because technically, Bang Bang Booty Gang is a Bullet Club affiliate.
Mm-hmm.
So is the War Dogs. They're
Mm-hmm.
like together but not. It's adorable.
Yeah.
What's that little phrase? Not together in distance, but always at heart.
Yeah.
So sweet. Yeah, that's all I have to really say about this. You kind of hit the nail on the head. This was a great match. Really great showing for both of these guys. I have really been enjoying seeing King. He was kind of like introduced to me around the same time, like during the Strong
Mm-hmm.
brand kind of inception. Strange to look back and see how far that's grown too. That's a
Yeah.
conversation for another time.
It is. We move on to Shota Umino versus Claudio Castagnoli.
I spent a good chunk of this match just sitting there trying to say his name because I was like, how do you freaking say that? Every time it popped up on the screen and you could see it in the back, I'm like, what? Castle what?
Castagnoli.
Castanoli? Ca-
Castagnoli.
Yeah, maybe consider just sticking with Claudio. That's hard enough.
Claudio. Well, that's why he was Antonio Cesaro in WWE.
I did not
Well,
like Antonio Cesaro though. The
then it just
name
became
just,
then it just became Cesaro. But
yeah. Anyway,
uh, I'm just, this was a better match for
this is gonna
Shota
be
here
great.
tonight. This was a better match for Shota here tonight. I still don't care for it. Claudio attacking him during the entrance, and Chris is calling it sickening. And this is really, to me, the start of Chris Charlton on this show. Yeah. He takes the paper title that Umino's still carrying for some reason, even though he didn't win. Why do you still have this? And throws it in the crowd. It would show up back later, which is dumb. Again, really, I thought these two
That's
did
the
a good job.
Japanese, though. Didn't you hear what Juice said in his time in Japan? He would throw that hat. Remember, he had that flamboyant hat he would always wear? And he would just yeet up into the rafters and it would end up where it would end up. The Japanese crowd always returned it.
So weird.
Every single time. If someone throws their shirt in the crowd, they always return it. So odd. It's
Again,
nice.
I thought these two, like, this match was a lot of Claudio in control, beating the piss out of Umino, which I was fine with. Claudio goes swinging, and you hear itch, knee, stun, chi. You hear the crowd in like counting in Japanese, and I loved it. Or no, they counted in English, but I'm like, why aren't you counting in Japanese? And I'm like, itch, knee, san, chi. I was like, no.
He would understand regardless.
Yeah, he would. He probably does. He's so many languages. But again, I thought really strong match here. The end comes Umino lining up the Blaze Blade to the back of the head, only gets two. Goes for the Death Rider, but Claudio gets out, hits the uppercut, then hits a very European uppercut, which is that launch into the air into that uppercut. Looks so good.
I like that, yeah.
He hits a Ricola bomb, and I thought it was over here, but Umino added that last possible millisecond. He goes, goes for the neutralizer, but Umino, he gets out and then flips out of another attempt. Umino backslides Claudio through into the Death Rider for the win, and you can hear audible boos in the crowd for Umino here. Like, I wanted Claudio to win. I wanted Claudio to knock his head off. I don't know. And then after the match, Claudio just doing the Q symbol with his arms to Umino on his way out. I literally wrote as Umino staring Claudio down from the ring. Claudio indicates Umino can go do something to himself. And Umino gets a stupid paper belt back here. One. Like it's just like one of those lions must have got it from the crowd, and I'm like, gosh, you lions are the worst.
Come on now, those lions are great. That one has the face of the perfect villain. Anyway.
He's the one that probably got it too.
The one with the very, very chiseled jaw.
Sure. He's a villain, you said, so I assumed he ruined my night by getting that paper belt back.
Oh, I see what you did there. Yeah, Castagnoli, Claudio attacking Shota Umino on the rail after he'd done his little circle of the ring on that silly little motorcycle thingy of his that looks like a white Batmobile Batcycle from the Adam West Batman in the 60s.
I was listening to another show. I think it was Post Wrestling. The Shooter Scooter, as they called it.
Wow, that was a funny laugh that came out of my mouth.
I just loved what they called it, the Shooter
That's
Scooter.
Great.
Yep.
That's Shooter Scooter. Anyway, yeah. I mean, this loops back to what I told you earlier about the pre-show match with Athena getting matched up with Thekla instead of Momo Watanabe. I feel like they're offering Thekla up as tribute as the Claudio first, and then they're gonna because I feel from this the next logical explanation is going to be, or logical answer is going to be Moxley himself, because who's bigger right now to him? Like, Claudio's his right-hand man besides Pac, isn't he?
Pac, either Yuta, maybe you get Umino versus Marina Shafir. I don't know.
I don't want to see that, oddly enough.
I want to see Umino get his shit wrecked by Marina Shafir. That would make me so happy.
Only because he wouldn't want to hit her.
You never know. You might
I don't feel like Shota.
He might be an asshole. We don't know.
No, no, I don't think so. I think Shota is one of those people who would probably not do well in an
No, he
intergender
wouldn't.
match.
He
He
would
would
not.
do
No.
terrible. No. Because like here's the thing. When you're doing these kind of things, we've seen this with the bloodline kind of situation. We've seen this in other kind of stories like this. You have the head honcho, the head of the snake, if you will. You have to climb the rest of it to get to them. I kind of look at Claudio as being that like second from the top guy, like the next guy under Moxley, and then I think Pac, and then probably Yuta, even though isn't he a champion?
Well, all three, Claudio, Pac, and Yuta are champions together.
Oh, they're the trios champions.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that means they beat Bang Bang Booty Gang.
A while ago.
What in the flying fruitcake of a fa la la and powdered sugar on Santa Claus's asshole is Jay White doing?
Nothing. Or he's been going after Moxley in the title.
Is he? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's fine. I can deal with that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But then, okay. Well, he's going to have to pencil in Shota at some point then, because like I don't going anywhere else. I feel would probably be a step down. Even going to Pac, and
Mm-hmm.
Pac is one of the more dangerous people in professional wrestling, I would say, just because of his clear absence of a lack of confidence in himself. I feel like he would just jump off a cliff and be like, "Look what I can do."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we move on. It is the AEW International and the Never Openweight Championships. It is Konosuke Takeshita representing AEW and DDT here, taking on the Stone Pitbull Tomohiro Ishii representing New Japan. Walker saying Ishii has never challenged for the international title, but Ishii was supposed to challenge for the championship in the inaugural four-way when it was the AEW All-Atlantic Championship, even though it included Japan. That's not in the Atlantic. But he ended up he won both his qualifying matches, his round robin, to get out of Japan, but couldn't make the show. So they put Puppy Clark Connors in the match because he wasn't a War Dog yet. He was just a puppy back then.
Oh, I thought you said Poppy, and I was like,
No, Puppy.
the fricking singer?
No, Puppy Clark Connors. He's a War Dog now, but he was a puppy back then.
Okay. War Puppy.
So he was supposed to be in the initial four-way match for this title when it was in its earlier incarnation. But yeah, so it's weird history for Ishii and his belt. So
interesting.
I thought these two were so good together. Just so good. I'm just going to go over a couple spots I really liked in this match. Ishii blocks a lariat and just chops Takeshita in the throat. Just wham, right in the throat. He pushed
He's
Takeshita
so short, though. I don't think he could reach his face.
Yeah. He pushed Takeshita up top, but Takeshita ends up pulling Ishii up into an avalanche raging fire. But Ishii kicks out of the last possible millisecond. It was beautiful. It's a great spot where Takeshita blocks strikes, gets Ishii up and hits him with the bastard driver into the wheelbarrow suplex. But Ishii just fires up, coming back. But Takeshita hits a lariat, but he only gets one. Just so good. The fire up spots here was so good. They're headbutting each other when they're on all fours. I didn't care for that, but in the context of this match, I was like, okay, I can see the feel here. Just so much good stuff in here. Takeshita gets Ishii up top, gets him on the shoulder. He's fighting off, and Ishii hits a Rana off the top, sending Takeshita flying across the ring. So good. Takeshita hits Ishii with a brainbuster, then gets him up, but Ishii is fighting to take Takeshita out, but Ishii drops him with a strike, hits a sliding lariat. Ishii gets him up, but Takeshita slips out of the brainbuster and hits a poison Rana, removes the elbow pad, lines up, but misses the elbow. He blocks the Ishii kick with the elbow, which looked really good. I love the block there. Like of the Ishii enziguri there. He just with the forearm, he blocks it. Hits the power drive knee. Ishii fires up, stops the kick. It's the Intiguri, but Takeshita comes back with a straight murder elbow and then hits Raging Fire for the win. Like, I thought this match was incredible. Like,
Mhm.
I understand that people are calling another match of the night. This was my match of the night. I thought these two tore this show down.
Well, like we've been saying for a hot minute, the Ishii-san seems to be a gatekeeper
Mhm.
in New Japan, where if you want a banger heavyweight match to have absolutely everything in it that it needs to entertain the crowd, you call Ishii. Put Ishii in that match. It's just like TMDK for a tag match. You put either one of those teams in a match. Um, yeah, this was a nice, pleasant surprise. A nice kind of, for me, that where the night kind of really kept going before it crashed down terribly.
Yeah, yeah. I thought these two were fire, and it has come out. The president of Bushi Road has said that Konosuke Takeshita has signed a contract, a 1-year contract with New Japan Pro Wrestling. So he will be working between DDT, New Japan, and AEW throughout the year. So he will be working multiple dates this year for New Japan, not just strong events. He will be coming back to Japan for multiple dates. So that's a
This
good
makes
thing to
me
me.
happy.
I'm hoping we
Yes.
get him in the cup. I'm really hoping we get him in the cup this year. Oh,
Oh gosh, yeah. We would deserve it. We would deserve it.
yeah.
We lost our championship, our main championship, for a good chunk of the year last year.
I thought you'd
Thank
appreciate
you.
that one.
Very much so. I
You
mean,
don't
it's
like
not
his
too
face, so
different than normal.
I gave him a
I mean,
better face. So
this one's smiling. Doesn't look like a penis. Um, yeah.
for all
Here's the
those of you
thing.
listening on A+, I put a smiley face over Don Callis' head because Mel thinks he looks like a penis.
She put a face over his phallus.
Oh
Phallus
Jesus!
face. Ooh, that's what I'm going to call him from now on. Um, but yeah, see, here's why I'm okay with this. I see the contract signing. I see that as at least intention, whether it's intention on Takeshka's part independently or a help from Don Callis or the powers that be. I'm okay with this, knowing that we're not going to just lose a title and it's not going to be coming back and we're not going to be shown the champion again. Because if I'm not mistaken, the last time Mercedes was in Japan was last Wrestle Kingdom, right?
No, uh, she was out injured last year. It was the year before. She was the Wrestle Kingdom, and then she worked the Dream or the All Star Grand Queendom in 2022. It's where she will drop there. She won a belt in there somewhere. Yeah.
She's telling me she hasn't been in Japan in over a year and she has a Japanese title.
No, she has an American Japanese title. The New Japan and Tanahashi said this.
I know, but it's still, then why did it waste my time tonight? If it's an American title, why are you in
Because
Japan?
this is the
Stay over there.
this is the worldwide show. Come on.
Uh, that is the only way I will allow that to slide. Only way. But like that
Well,
being
we
said,
haven't seen
I will.
Jarrell Nelson in Japan. We haven't seen Isaacs here in 2
Uh,
years, and they're
we
champions.
haven't seen Isaacs in a while, yeah. And then you're right, that's a strong brand. So like that's fair. But the question still becomes, then why is it in Japan? This could have been your next AEW show.
Oh,
And it would kind of
we're gonna
already
talk about that on Friday.
hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Mina would be there already because she lives there.
Mm-hmm. Well,
There's no reason.
We're gonna chat about that on Friday.
Hold on,
Don't
hold
worry.
on, hold on. But yeah, I'm okay with this because also Takeshita has made it very apparent over the last year of his involvement, particularly with that AEW title. He's willing to travel and he's not willing to not give 110% every time he gets into the ring. Every time he gets into the ring, whether it's for that championship, he's giving us a championship worthy match.
Mhm.
I have to respect that work ethic, even if
Yep.
he works for a company I'm not a fan of.
Move on. Three-way match for the IWGP Tag Team Championship. It's a tornado tag match. It's for the vacant titles. United Empire's Great-O-Khan and the Imperial Unit. Jeff Cobb taking on the Young Bucks. Matthew and Nicholas Jackson taking on the World Tag League winners. Los Ingobernables Japons, Tetsuya Naito, and Hiromu Takahashi. Why you would cash into a three-way match, you're dumb. This is where the commentary team took a dive for me because Rocky Romero joined the team, and I'm like, God damn it, you ruined my night. Hiromu coming out with his monster costume. The Bucks coming out to their old New Japan theme here. This is where Chris really went hard because he was bitching about the Bucks getting a shot and jumping the line. He said many fans are mad, just like the wrestlers, and we are. At least the New Japan ones are.
To also point out here, I know that Rocky is kind of doing a lot of the booking in the US, but like for as Haley as Chris Charlton was as accused of being in this, as markish for New Japan as he was accused of being, Rocky Romero was the staunch same person for AEW in this match.
Yeah, but he didn't have as many controversial remarks as Chris Charlton did.
No, because he's smart. Well, also Rocky has just never been that controversial thing.
No.
But the comments that he was saying, if we're going to give Chris Charlton shit for being a mark for his company, we also have to give Rocky the same thing. He just wasn't as pissed about it.
Yeah, and that's it's the phrasing that Chris Charlton used that got him in trouble.
Yeah.
Honestly, this match was fine. I half checked out of this one. I was like, I knew again. I wanted with all my heart for the United Empire or LIJ to win this, and I usually don't cheer for LIJ. But I knew where this was going. Again, it was a good match. It was nothing bad about it. It was good. Cobb getting those combinacion cabrons of his own. I did one tonight. Like he did combinacion, then came back over and then just landed in front of him and booted him in the face. Then went over and did it to one of the other guys in the match. I loved it. I love that little spot there.
Jeff Cobb was the happy little accident that I knew was going to be the X.
Yeah. Again, I thought good match throughout. Toward the end here, Khan goes for the eliminator, but Hiromu gets in to break that pin up, or he gets eliminator on, breaks that pin up. Khan gets taken out. Cobb comes in. Hiromu stops Cobb's attempt at a Destino. He goes for it, but he doesn't get it. With Hiromu hitting him with a kick, Naito comes in, hitting an Esperanza to Cobb. The Bucks take out Hiromu, hit the EVP trigger to Naito, but Khan breaks pin. I'm like, oh, thank God the Bucks aren't winning this match. Young Bucks then start the super kick party on Khan twice. Matt goes to the top rope, moonsault to the guys on the floor. Then they hit the Tony driver or whatever the Tony driver. It used to be the Meltzer driver. Now it's the Khan driver, whatever you want to call it. To the Great-O-Khan for the win.
Call it a driver.
Well, it's a tombstone with the spinning other person helping, and it's called the Meltzer driver. It was called the Meltzer driver. Now it's called like the Khan driver or the Tony driver or something. I don't know what the name is for sure.
You can call it Melball's broken heart at this point, because like even though I predicted this, it didn't make the win any easier.
Nope.
I do want to say it was laughable how these guys did come out, and I kind of came into the realization of why I hate them so much. Because they do the obnoxious gimmick, and it's the gimmick I hate the most, but they do it so well. That's why it's so effective.
Mm-hmm.
And they've just modernized it. They've always been obnoxious. They've just gone with the trends. We've watched them go through their little kind of changes, and I hesitate to say it's an evolution because it doesn't feel like it. They're still the same fracking thing. They're just changing how they look. That being said, who's the darker haired one? Matthew?
I don't know. I know them by their beards at this point. But yeah.
Hate the darker beard.
I don't know. I was just trying to figure out which one had the. I always I'm still to this day I have to look at pictures of them when we go into matches to make sure I know which one I'm thinking about in the match.
Yeah, I think it was Matt. Because I feel like Nick is the blue-eyed one. I'm not entirely sure. They mess me up because they don't have the stereotypical bearded one, bald one that I'm usually used to following.
Well,
So,
one
I
has a
mean, one's
receding hairline.
balding.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know. So maybe that's how I can start to kind of figure that out. Anyway, the
yeah,
one with the darker hair, I think it's Matthew. We're gonna go with that. With the pearl
sure.
necklace and the
Hmm.
updo.
Yeah,
I started laughing. I'm like, that's the palest Doja Cat I have ever seen in my life. He literally looked like Doja Cat. I thought he was gonna start singing. I can't even try to like give you some kind of tidbit on her music because it's definitely not appropriate use of certain words. Yeah, not happy about this. Because the Bucks hadn't I was told the Bucks haven't been on TV in the last like month and a half. Is that true?
yeah. They dropped the titles to the Private Party a few weeks back, and then yeah, they haven't appeared since.
You dropped the titles on your own show, so you got to come steal ours? What the fuck?
Pretty much.
I don't like these champions because, again, the point I made with Mercedes is that people don't pay to go to these shows just to see the Joe Blows. They pay to see the champions, especially when you're charging outlandish prices for half a freaking stadium of people. You gotta make it worth the people's whiles. As a fan of New Japan, how many people have I given you over the last
Yeah.
couple of years? You had a show come through, and it was the first time that I saw both Bridey, Doo Da Day, and Kazuchika Okada, and these two fuckers in the ring all together. You want to know what I saw them do? You remember what I saw
Brawl.
them do? Ring
Hug.
around the rosy. They weren't fricking brawling. I
Yeah, that's true.
literally have an 8-second clip of Debray and Okada just playing Ring Around the Rosie in the corner.
That's true. That
This
is true.
this is my problem. There's too much bullshit and not enough solidity happening. There's not enough wrestling for for the amount of wrestlers that you have signed. There's not as much wrestling, and then your champions, they're not showing up. I heard the Bang Bang Booty Gang were the trios champion on ROH for a really long time, and they never showed up.
Hmm?
What is that about? And that I bring up ROH because I know it's the sorority show to the frat that is AEW. So, like, how? I'm trying to understand if you have the competent people working in the competent places that they're supposed to be, how is this becoming so convoluted?
Because one person's booking everything, and he needs to learn to let people book things, but he doesn't know how. So
Is it Okada of the non-Kazuchika kind? Did you guys hire him? That would
no,
have
no,
been a
no. It's
mistake.
it's it's just Tony. Tony's doing everything. That is
The
the issue. He
child
doesn't.
who needs his phone taken away at 8 p.m.?
Yes, he needs to get Debray and Rocky and other people to help him book these shows and take it off his plate. Just let him focus on one show. Let Brian focus on another. Let Rocky run ROH. Like just
Yeah, because this shit has very week-to-week booking feels, and it's like, that's not how you run a multi-million, multi-billion-dollar company. You
it's true.
can't do that. You want to be considered some competition, some legitimate competition for someone like WWE. You need WWE personnel. You can't just be hiring, Buddy down in accounting because Matt Jackson knew him from back in the day and he thinks he's trustworthy.
Yeah. But after the match, the Bucks did make comments like, "You're never gonna see. No, you're gonna see us again." And then they do mention New Beginning in Osaka.
Yeah, and I saw the match. Yeah, you're gonna pull it up.
So they are coming back. on February 11th to defend their titles against Naito and Hiromu.
It bothers me that if you switched the Bucks right now, they would be doing the Empress Nexus Venus.
But they're the EVPs. They're the They're the EVPs. There's too much of it of that. Yeah. But anyways, let's move on.
Just one more thing, real quick. If that's the case, I truly, madly, deeply hope that is where they drop them. I honestly was hoping that they would have had a match at Wrestle Kingdom and then dropped them at Wrestle Dynasty. If they drop them at this show, I won't be as mad about this.
Mm-hmm.
But if they don't, and I have to deal with a championship of mine being kidnapped again, we're going to have some problems.
Yeah, and if they keep showing up, though, I'm not going to be as pissed, but I'm still not happy with the titles not being held by guys in New Japan.
No. But that being said, our tag division is stagnant right now, but that doesn't mean we need them.
No. IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship, Gene Blast Yota Tsuji defending his newly won championship against Scapegoat Jack Perry. Jack Perry raiding Evil's storage unit.
Yeah, he did.
He did. He came out with Evil's old giant sickle, and I was like, dude, can you carry that? Like, thing was way bigger than him.
I loved it, but he held it really good considering like the staff of it is really narrow and the top of it was really thick. He held it up pretty good. But that stupid goat. God damn it, that goat thing looks so stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Is that why he wears it?
Maybe. He's a scapegoat, so that's why he wears it. Tsuji coming out.
So his job is to look stupid?
Yeah. Pretty much. Tsuji coming out looking like Carmen Sandiego one more time. But when he takes the jacket and hat off, he's got the gold with red accent gear. So his Carmen Sandiego-ness went away then.
Yeah.
I thought these two were doing a good match. Perry hitting a nice Tope Suicida early on. But the problem is Perry's not getting the heat that he wants here. The crowd is not booing him. This crowd is like, they're cheering for Tsuji, but they're not super, super hot here. I noticed.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, look at what they just went through. They had the Ishii match, they had the Claudio and Umino match, the Finlay and King match, and then that titles match. They're probably in shock that they're realizing they're losing their tag titles.
Maybe. It's got a couple points on the talk. Tsuji gets Perry up top. They brawl up top. Perry gets the advantage. Tsuji fights back, hitting a beautiful Spanish fly off the top for 2. He lines up that 3-point stance, but Perry hits him with the glass jaw knee. That sequence looks so good.
So good.
To block the Gene Blaster, Perry can't capitalize as he's grabbing at his own knee because he's in pain from hitting the knee strike. I was like, okay, that's pretty good. The end of this match comes. Tsuji slipping off the shoulders of Perry, hits a super kick. Perry stops him in the corner, attacks him, hits strikes. The ref gets shoved. Perry gets the low blow, and he gets I thought looked like a Samoan drop. I honestly did not know truly what he hit here, but Tsuji does kick out at 2. Perry goes for the glass jaw knee again, but he misses. But Tsuji then misses the knee of his own. Perry hits a German. They both start running, and Tsuji hits a Gene Blaster for the win.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This was a really fun match for me because I was not a big fan of Jack Perry. Both his in-ring performance was really good, but his persona and gimmick was real stupid to me back then. The Jungle Boy thing, it was adorable when it first came out. It fizzled out real quick for me, and I couldn't understand why they weren't sending him somewhere or changing up the gimmick. Oddly enough, the House of Torture influence for Perry has been very, very good. And obviously comes with some perks. You get to use Evil's old scythe. It's freaking cool. I wanted that. I wonder if he's going to raffle it. That'd be cool. Anyway, getting off track here. This match was a kind of like a story of studying and scouting on both these guys' parts. They were reversing so much of their stuff throughout this entire match and so effortlessly, especially Suji. He'd just roll through and just grab his foot and just redirect Perry, and Perry be like, "What the hell?" It was really, really cool to see these guys kind of almost like intertwined together. It was so cool. Yeah, I don't have a whole lot on this one. I have much more on the other one.
Oh, okay. I figured you had more. So yeah, we move on. Semi-main event of the evening: Kenny Omega versus Gabe Kidd in a special singles match. Gabe Kidd, man, he might be the biggest babyface in this company now. This
For
crowd,
being such a fucking heel, yeah.
well, this crowd was audibly booing Kenny and audibly cheering Gabe, because when he came out, I'm sorry, that was the most face entrance I had ever seen Gabe Kidd do, and he used to be a good guy. He comes out, hopping the barricade, firing up the crowd. He's got these fight shorts on. He's got the the War Dogs logo on one hip. He's got the New Japan Pro Wrestling logo on the other. New ink on his arms. This dude is he the heart? I think he's the heart of New Japan now. Like,
I was gonna say, did he just become the new ace?
I think so. He did what Shota couldn't do. Omega out. I loved his entrance jacket that with the gold trim and the Omega logo open, showing his chest.
That was cool. Yeah,
that was cool. Coming out too, a lot of people are going, man, that song was fire, because the guy who wrote music for Final Fantasy 14 and 16 wrote it. I was like, oh, please bring back Battle Cry. Again, I'm not when I play Final Fantasy games, I'll admit I turn the volume off, and I'll have a podcast playing or watching a TV show to the side while I play the game.
So you don't get the da 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 da.
I did way back in the day when that music when it was the PlayStation version of it. There's your PlayStation version of music, but I don't listen to audio in games much personally. So again, the song was fine, but I'd rather hear Battle Cry. I like Battle Cry better.
I feel that.
Yeah.
I feel that.
Again,
even his original Kenny Omega music from New Japan, the da 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 da. Great. It's great.
Yeah. So there was a lot of crazy shit in this match. These two were beating the hell out of each other. Kenny Omega really selling the midsection throughout, because Gabe Kidd kept trying to go for the body shot but couldn't get it off. They end up fighting to the floor at one point. Kenny power bombs Kidd from over the barricade through a table. That looked insane. Kidd is busted open at this point. He's bleeding everywhere. These two are fighting. Kenny hits a springboard swanton from the ring over the ringside area, over the barricade to Gabe Kidd, hitting him. And he also lands on where the stage is raised, hitting his hip, because he started to yell for ice. Yeah. Because he wanted ice. And you're thinking he's selling for his wrist, but no, he puts it to his hip, because he hit his hip on the stage corner, because the ring is elevated from the rest, so it can be a little higher for people to see. And
the moment he was asking for ice too, he kind of healed it up a little bit, because he's asking for ice. They weren't expecting to need ice right then, I guess. They were scrambling to get some. I think it was Shomakato who get in there to give him the ice, and Kenny ends up shoving him, and he ends up
falling
into Gabe Kidd. And this was kind of where you start to see kids start getting fired up again.
Well, and the point where where this crowd really turned on Kenny Omega is when I think it was Shomakato brought him in, and he then shoved him away. This crowd was already on Gabe Kidd's side. This crowd was just booed the living piss out of him for the rest of this match, and this is where we really saw Kenny's kind of demeanor change in this match.
This was also Because at that point, also, I forgot to mention, he also shoved Shoma. Shoma ended up falling into Connors. Connors was at ringside at that point. That was when Kenny had wiped out Drilla and Connors as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. On
And
that huge
even
dive,
Connors
right? Yeah,
was looking at him like, "What the hell are you doing? That's our shit."
yeah. He kind of went heel here. It was weird.
He
So
did.
like, there's that. So these two keep brawling throughout. They're fighting on the outside. Kids smashing Kenny with the chair, like they're fighting with the chair on the outside. They end up on the floor at the table, and it's like kind of like an angle. Like one set of
Hmm.
legs is up, the other's down, and Kid
Yeah.
suplexes Kenny through the angle table. So good. That looked brutal
Yeah.
as shit. He then takes
Hmm.
the piece of table and just wallops Kenny over the head. Just and this is where Drilla and Connors are just the greatest cheerleaders in the world. I'm sorry, they
That's
turned
wingman,
face.
yeah.
They turned face for me here in this match because they were firing the crowd up more. They were getting them going because, like, dude, it was amazing here.
Yeah.
The War Dogs all start tossing chairs in the ring. Again, there's a big pile of chairs, but Kenny ends up fighting back and slamming Kid onto the pile of chairs. Crazy shit in here. There's the superplex by Kid to Kenny off the top onto the pile of chairs. Just crazy shit. The
Hmm.
V triggers get pulled out by Omega, and he's hitting V triggers. Like, and like, that dude's been off for over a year. Like, he's been out since the end of 2023. Kenny Omega. He didn't look like it. He, like, early on, you could see him kind of warming up, but by mid match, this dude was flying. This was, and
Hmm.
he was pulling out New Japan Kenny Omega here. This is the Kenny Omega we saw against Will Ospreay in 2023.
Hmm.
This is the one that showed up at
Agree.
Wrestle Kingdom, the one that was at Forbidden Door. This was that Kenny Omega, and these two just
Hmm.
tore this match down. Um, Jay Driller at one point. Again, just crazy shit. The end of this match, Kid's firing up. He wants the brainbuster. Kenny blocks it, slips out, but Kid hits an enziguri. Kenny fights back with a knee and a V trigger in the ropes. Kenny hits a power bomb and another V trigger, but Kid kicks out at one. Kid is on his knees, flipping off Omega. He's like, and this is that moment when a guy kicks out at one, but you know it's about to end because does that one kick out, and then he's like, okay, it's time for the other guy to finish this. He's flipping Kenny off from his knees. Kenny just grabs the hand, Kota Ibushi Kamagoe to the face, then lifts him up, one wing angel, and it's over. I was slightly disappointed that Kenny won. In my heart of hearts, I wanted Gabe Kidd to win. I didn't expect Kenny to lose because it's his return match. But man,
Hmm.
these two had a great match. Like, again, my heart is with Ishii versus Konosuke Takeshita for match of the night, but I understand perfectly why everybody that said with this match was the best match of the weekend. I understand that but just in my heart, I love those two that much more. That's why I love. That's why that's my match. But this is right there with it because Gabe Kidd
Hmm.
turned himself into the biggest star in this company in this match, and Kenny
Hmm.
Omega looks like the biggest heel to New Japan. But this is also the match that got Chris Charlton fired or got him suspended because he went off in this match.
Well, I mean, it's an excitable match.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Got a lot of people going, got the crowd going. They did their jobs, right? This was the loudest this crowd was the entire night up until this point and after. And they had a main event with their beloved champion. And he is the beloved champion in Zack Sabre Jr. So, like, yeah, Gabe Kidd kind of made himself the biggest star on this feud, which is why I was disappointed that they didn't pass the torch to him in this.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just because, like, yes, this is an incredible match from Kenny Omega. He's in his 40s now, though, isn't he?
Yeah, early 40s. Yeah.
I want to be able to see him go through more matches like this. I don't want to have to see him go through the Tana wind down that we have
Mm.
been seeing. Because the last 4 years watching Tanahashi's knees slowly break down match after match after match has broken my heart. This is the Kenny Omega I want to always remember. But if he keeps doing matches like this, and so much, we're gonna get him for a match, lose him for a year, get him back, get him hurt, lose him for a year. I don't want to have to deal with that, you know? That being said, though, the build that both of these guys did going into this, phenomenal. The
Hmm.
promos that Gabe Kidd did about this, just reminding everyone that he called AEW wrestlers pussies.
Hmm.
Like, it's just, yeah, I'm surprised he's not getting in more trouble than he is. That's
Yeah.
all over the internet. But
And, yeah. And the story, well, I've listened to many different people talking about this and saying, well, the story's not AEW versus Newton Jupiter. Yeah, it is. It's Gabe Kidd, more than anybody, made this match New Japan versus AEW. He called them pussies. He was calling out Omega for
yeah,
being. He called Omega. I think pretty sure he called him a bitch at one point. Like
uh-huh.
like he
I'm
was actively against talking shit about AEW in his promos. This was New
mhm,
Japan versus AEW. Rocky Romero
100%.
was playing the AEW supporter.
Mhm,
But he was fairly positive because he is also a New Japan guy. But he was supportive. But he was defending AEW in this. Chris
mhm,
Charlton was defending New Japan. There might be a comment or two that is a little far, but he was playing a goddamn character.
mhm,
It's not like he would walk up to Tony Khan and call him a money mark in active truth. You would, I would, but he called him a money mark. He took shots at what has the company done with Will Ospreay, Jay White, and Okada since they got them. And I'll give him Jay White has been booked into a weird oblivion. Osprey's had some incredible matches this year. So Osprey, you can say Okada won the Continental Championship and then won the tournament this year. But
but
he
but
still means nothing to me in that company.
I was gonna say, do we care that he won the
No,
title, or does the AEW crowd just look forward to the moment where he pops up on the screen, smiles, and says, "Bitch"?
yeah, and that's the other thing. His character work in this company, while the bitch stuff is funny,
It is.
it's he like I don't. Most of what Okada has done in AEW this year, I could give two shits about. Yes, he had an incredible match with Osprey. He had a good match with Ricochet. He's had some great matches, but that's again the pay per view. But the week to week, I could give two shits on what Okada's doing. Just
Mm,
book him his match for the pay per view, and I'll show up then to watch him wrestle because he's amazing. But I don't care. I don't care about him. I don't like. I
mhm,
care about Osprey. That's because he's been telling good stories this year. Again, I
mhm,
love Jay White, but I don't care about what he's doing because I don't believe he's beating John Moxley for the title. He's not been booked properly to be a believable person to beat him. So like
yeah. It's
it's
kinda like the Kenta thing when Kenta went to WWE and became Hideo Itami, it's they didn't know what to do with him, and then he got broken, and then they didn't know what to do with him, and then he got broken again. And now he's back in Japan, and now Japan don't know what to do with him. But, like, you know, I think the fundamental difference in Osprey versus people like, um, mentioned because there's Okada, Jay White, Osprey doesn't mind taking strategic losses. He knows how to do that, and he does so graciously, and he does so wismically, if that's a word. He doesn't care as long as he has a good match. For him, it's not the win or loss ratio. It's not about him being able to climb that PWI 500 at the end of the year. For him, he wants to have phenomenal matches. Whereas someone like Jay White, I feel like Jay White is a very smart business guy, but I feel like Jay White demands wins.
Mhm.
And I feel like that might actually be maybe if a booking problem is the problem, maybe he wants to win more than they would like to book him winning. and that's hindering his process. Who knows? It's a whole company that I don't know anything about. I'm not back there. I'm not in that locker room. It's just very sus the way things happen. This match, though, back to the original match at hand, fracking phenomenal.
Mhm.
This was like watching um, Okada and Kenny back in the day. It was
Mhm.
like we had the best belt machine back again. It was like he never left, but we know he's gonna.
Yeah, and
Next,
again,
gonna go
and,
back.
and like at the end of this year, when I go back and I go back watching some of my top matches of the year to pick what my best matches of the year is, I can go back and watch this match and then watch Takeshita and Ishii and go, okay, this is what I'm picking
Mm,
on the night and just the couple days following it. Ishii and Takeshita has me, but by the end of the year, I could be saying this was my match of the year. I don't know.
mm,
This was right there with that match for me. Both these matches were
mhm,
absolutely incredible. So, and again,
mm,
I understand what people are saying. This is the match of the year already, and I
mm,
get it. This was
mhm.
amazing. This is a potential match of the
So
year
good.
match. Like, it's just so good, so good.
Yeah. I just did
So
feel like it had a little bit more to lose in this one, taking a loss because he is the champion. He's a
yeah,
strong champion.
and then due to his comments, and Charlton also said that the C2 cannot measure up to the G1, and that's true because it's in the second year in existence, and it's not to me at the same level
Yeah.
as G1. That's just undebatable. He
G1
has
is like
been,
30 years existence now, isn't it?
yeah. Sean Ross Sapp and a couple others have reported that there's a 2 month suspension for Chris Charlton. Dave Meltzer has reported an indefinite absence. So whatever it is, I want Chris Charlton back. And even Cobb kind of called it out. So did Phantasmo kind of called it out at New Year Dash the next day, both asking Walker said, "Why are you alone?" And like I was just like, huh.
Why do we have to suffer because Tony doesn't know how to be offended?
Again, the reports are saying this is all coming from New Japan, but I don't know. The money mark is probably pissed off, and it's like, why are people slandering me? But that's just that's my Tony Khan impression.
Oh,
He just sounds weird to me. He can't
he
talk. He
the
can't
the
doesn't know how to
problem
look at a camera. I just
the problem I have is why is he such a prominent figure? Like I get that he's the owner of the company and shit, but it's like Hunter's involved with WWE. He's not on every single fracking show coming out there going, "Hi guys, look at me. I'm just as much of a spectacle as the guys in the ring." Your job being the owner is to own things. Sit down. Shut up and let the other people who are competent in other places of business do the competent business things. This is your first time running it like a business. This is his first time running a business, isn't it?
no. He's uh worked with the
Successful?
well,
Successful
he
business.
worked with the Jacksonville Jaguars, Fulham SC.
Okay.
He has a couple other businesses of his own that are successful. So yeah, he's not like he's
Understood
not a
that he would know,
well, he's not a
or at least
competent
have
businessman.
someone who knows, but it's like if you're the owner, there's a reason why the owners typically don't take that kind of a like you're not Vince. And we don't need another Vince. We just got rid of the dementia era. We don't need somebody to take that spot. You're
We don't
good.
need a we don't need a dumbass here. That's the thing. Again,
Yeah.
I agree with Chris Charlton. He's a money mark. He bought his way into wrestling. Said here's a bunch of money. I'm going to make a company for you, and that's what he did. And he's like, I'm going to book it all because I can do what I want because it's all my money. But it's like, again, I have enough issues. Again, I was a fan of AEW for a long time, but this last year and a half, they really lost me. Again, I watch pay-per-views because I know there's amazing wrestling, and I've skipped odd pay-per-views here and there for AEW in the last couple of
Mhm.
years because again, this stuff didn't appeal to me.
Mhm.
But yeah, I look at it and I go, okay, enjoy getting your panties in a wad because somebody called you out.
It's like he had a choice. He could either be like, do what he did, or he could have been like, huh, also this guy, I got a multi-million-dollar company.
Yeah.
There's certain times where people could really benefit more from taking the high road. And then there's other times where they could benefit from action. This was not a benefit from action, because now look what's happening. I've heard that he's a little bit hiding right now because there's been some backlash. Because shocking, when you muck with somebody else's company that isn't yours, because like, yeah, I'm with you. Some people are saying, oh, New Japan decided this. No, they did not. And
Yeah.
if they did, it wasn't without somebody's hand on their shoulder. And
Mhm.
that hand was either Rocky's or it was Tony's, because Rocky was there. So, like,
Mhm.
Tony might have heard it.
Well,
But let's be
and
honest,
just that
Rocky could have also been a problem in this.
Rocky told him to cool it. You could hear him on commentary and say, "Man, calm down." Like he was telling him to cool it during this
It
match. So
doesn't mean that he didn't go to Papa Tony.
I'm not saying he
He
didn't,
has
but
another paycheck.
again, I'm not saying he didn't. But again, I'm not going to speculate on that. I don't know who did
Mm,
what, but I believe Tony Khan is the reason behind all this. But let's move on.
100%.
Main event of the evening. It was a really good match, but the crowd was dead. I'm sorry, the crowd was
Oh,
dead.
God, yeah.
Honestly, your world title does not need to be the final match. This is WrestleMania 18 all over again. Rock and Hogan went out, stole the goddamn show, burnt the crowd out, and then you have Triple H versus Chris Jericho to a half-dead crowd. And that's what happened here. If this would have went on
Mm-hmm.
before, I really think the crowd would have been a lot more engaged, because this was a really good
100%.
match. Zack Sabre Jr. defending the World Championship against Ricochet. The start of it was awesome. Ricochet hitting coming right at Sabre, knocking him off the apron, hitting a tope suicida, hits a springboard dropkick in the ring, then hits a Sasuke special over or from the ring, and then hits a Sasuke special over the top. The Sabre on the floor, another springboard 450 in the ring. Again, just he started it like fire, and then we got into it. And again, it was back and forth. Ricochet hitting his flippy flying stuff, Sabre trying to work him technical and working really hard strikes. I really like the evolution of Sabre's strikes. He's getting so good. But I gotta say this, I hate Ricochet's finisher, the Spirit Gun. It's just a shitty version of the Hidden Blade. It's just a shitty Hidden Blade. It's what it is. There's a great spot. Ricochet reverses it. Oh, what? Did I break the Melball? I can't hear you.
He calls it Spirit Gun?
The Spirit Gun. Like, yeah, Spirit Gun. Yes. I think I broke a Melball with calling. Yeah, Ricochet broke her with the Spirit.
Watch out, guys, I'm gonna hit you with my Spirit Gun.
Ricochet reverses out of his Zack driver run point, hits a strike. He catches Sabre in a backslide, hits a rolling knee, suplexing him through. This is
Jesus.
where he gets him, suplexes him, rolls him up, hits another suplex. I'm going thinking, okay, three amigos. Then he rolls them to the apron, hits a suplex on the apron. They bounce to the floor, hold on to the suplex, and lifts him up, hits another suplex on the floor.
Yeah.
And then
Sounds
Ricochet gets
ridiculous.
back in, and Sabre gets in at Mel's favorite number, 19.
You know what though?
Uh,
Zach doesn't do that often. He's when he leaves the ring, he's usually the first one hopping back in. So I'll excuse it.
Yeah. Ricochet gets Sabre up top, and Sabre pulls the mission up top, tosses Ricochet off. Ricochet hits a kick, comes back up, but Sabre gets him, hits a Zack driver off the top, and goes into the submission. Starts transitioning around, but Ricochet gets to the ropes. Again, these two going back and forth. Ricochet hitting a kick and a spin kick, and hits a cradle inverted DDT. Ricochet goes to the top, hits a beautiful shooting star press, only gets two. Ricochet hits like the down kick, like just lifts the leg up and kicks the guy straight down. We see that
Mhm.
from a lot of the Stardom girls. They really like that move. Hits
Like
another
an axe
cradle
kick.
invert. Yeah, axe kick. Yeah. Well, the axe kick is the one where Booker T jumps and then leg drops the back of some guy's neck. That's the axe kick. But yeah, it's
Well,
just
I would call that a jumping axe kick, but okay.
yeah. So Ricochet hits that kick, another inverted DDT, goes back to the top, misses the 630 splash, which was like, he crashed on that. That was great. Sabre hits a PK, another Zack driver, but he only gets 2. This is where Ricochet gets a cradle pin. He hits strikes, hits a bunch of strikes, goes for the spirit gun, but it's reversed into an arm lock, then into the double arm bar, and then he rolls into Clarky Cat. Like, he gets that leg over, pulls down Clarky Cat style, and Ricochet verbally submits. Great finish. Great finish.
It was unexpected, which I think we needed because the crowd, again, as you mentioned, very dead. Very, very hard to get them into this. Not for lack of trying. Like, they were both trying really hard to get the crowd back into it, but, like, there was just too much before this. And, like, to go back to what you said at the beginning, I think you're right. The world, just because it's your world championship doesn't mean it needs to be your main event. This could have been 2 matches back and just, like, shuffle it 2 down and just have everything shuffled up, and that would have been a perfect way to have the show go. Because people would still be raring for Kenny Omega and Gabe Kidd at the end. They could have even gone on before Kidd and Kenny and gotten great pop, and Kidd and Omega would have still gotten that crazy pop that they got. Absolutely. So, yeah, I don't have a whole lot to say about the match because I just kind of sat and enjoyed it. I noticed that Sabre Jr. especially seemed very focused, very dialed in on this one. At certain points, angry, almost got a little bit of a grimace on his face. Whereas Ricochet was, from what I remember, again, I'm not a WWE watcher, so I didn't see his time in WWE too much. I just saw like pictures or clips and whatnot. It was the carefree kind of Ricochet that I remembered from when he was in New Japan before he left. So like, still smiley, but serious and kind of almost, I would say, playful in the ring. I felt that combination of seriousness and playfulness worked really, really well for them. But again, it was just, I was exhausted by the first part of this show. Such a good submission, hey?
The Clarky Cat, baby.
He's such a wizard. He's a wizard. He's a wizard, Andre.
Technical wizard, Harry. So post-match, Sabre gets the mic. He says, "Hey, Baldy, arigato." Thank you, man. So he thanks him after calling him Baldy. It was funny. He says, "I forgot all the Japanese with all I've been through. Tell the English speakers to do some stand-ups." He starts talking, calling New Japan the best company around on this round Earth. And I love that he said this round Earth because he's taking a shot at any of those flat earthers out there. He says, "I love this company. The future is bright and the future is orange. TMDK is going to be at the top for a very long time. Oiwa, we're going to get you a championship very soon. We are TMDK and the mighty don't kneel." So quickly, I do have a point tally.
Go for it.
So at the end of this show, in last place is CMLL with 0. No wins for CMLL. Tied for, I guess, third place is Ring of Honor, Stardom, and a no contest, because I'm giving the no contest a point, all with 1 point. In second place is AEW with 4 wins, and New Japan wins this with 5 wins. Yes.
So there was a lot of matches.
Dude, it's 9, 10, 11, 12 matches on this show. Yeah, if you include the pre-show.
That's a lot of matches. We've been watching a lot of wrestling, you guys. It's been so exhausting, but man, we've gotten to be introduced to some amazing new wrestling, which you'll be seeing a new show out very, very soon.
Did you know?
Right? Did you know?
Did you know? That will be debuting later this week. That will be debuting later this week. But for all y'all listening right now, I had stuff for New Year Dash here, but again, we've been going for an hour and 45 minutes, so we're gonna get off of here. I need to get to bed eventually because I got to work in the
I
morning.
need a nap.
So,
Yeah.
tune in this Friday live on our local establishment. Or if you are listening on A Plus Productions, the show will be out over the weekend. We'll be doing our Japanese wrestling update returns. We're going to give a couple bit of rundowns from Wrestle Kingdom, some title match changes, talk about the Kenny match quickly. We're going to give everything that came out of New Year Dash. We'll have a chit chat about some Mari Gold because we still haven't seen the show, but we're going to talk about it because it's not really out there, and I don't know if I want to spend the money for it. When that's going away in just a few days, but again, it's not going to be available on Universe until the start of February, and I'm like, what the hell? So we'll be chatting all about the Japanese wrestling on this Friday on Japanese Wrestling Update on OLE live at 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, or on A Plus Productions over the weekend. That show will be coming out. So again, we're going to be a big wrap up, talk about some other stuff. So don't worry, it'll all be coming out this weekend. But you can find me on the X and Blue Sky at that Canada Guy, TikTok, Instagram, and Threads at that Canada Dude. You can find me on Facebook at Andre Melball Wrestling Talk and YouTube.com/at Andre Melball Wrestling Talk, where you can find all our great content covering the world of Japanese professional wrestling and all the local independent wrestling that we go to. You can also find us, as I said, on A Plus Productions, aplusproductions.com. Hit the RSS feed. You can add us to your podcast catcher of choice. I know where our shows are being dropped on there this week for all the Japanese wrestling content we have put out. So check that out. Also go over to the Facebook page, A Plus Productions on Facebook, and you can hang out with some great people who ask some great questions. I know Blaine Vandergren asking us about why Mel doesn't like AEW. She explained that off the hop of this show. So, yeah, there you go, Blaine. You got that for you, buddy. Check us out on the Facebook page. Hang out, chat with some great people. You can also find us over on Twitch at twitch.tv/OurLocalEstablishment, youtube.com/@OurLocalEstablishment. Within the next week or two, me and Ed are going to have our 2025 Marvel Talk Primer. We're going to be talking about all the stuff that's coming up this year, chit chat about everything we're going to be covering, what we're looking forward to, and what we're hoping for coming out of all of these projects. So come check that out. I'll be in a couple of weeks. I need to get through all my wrestling stuff first. I know Ed's getting back in the swing of things with NXT. You can also find us over at youtube.com/@backbreaker video or Mike Simulcast, all of our stuff. You can find us live content, twitch.tv/Mike the Ref, and his all the gaming content he does there. And then the replays of all that gaming content, youtube.com/@backbreaker_gaming. Melball, where can they find you?
If you're wanting to follow Melball, you can find her on the X thing at Collins Melball. You can follow her on everything else: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Mastodon, and Blue Sky at Melball Collins. You can also find me on our local establishment's programming, Japanese Wrestling Update, with this guy on Friday at 8 p.m. Mountain Time. Unless it's not. We will be there live as per, well, sort of usual. There's no shows. The show we're attending this weekend is on Saturday, which is hella convenient for us. So you can catch us live there at 8 p.m. on Friday Mountain Time. You can also catch me on Monday on the Women's Classic Wrestling Show with the talented natural Astrid Pizarro, the beautiful Auntie Collins, where we are breaking down the Mae Young Classic from 2017. I have never seen this series. Auntie is reliving it. Astrid got to see it live. So we're having fun conversations about that. So stay tuned to our socials. But otherwise, we are on Monday at 8 p.m. Mountain Time. You can also catch me on Astro Bizarre's YouTube channel where we do our show, Ladies Wrestling Showcase. We have a show coming up for you very soon, so stay tuned to our socials to see when Dash is coming out. I don't know why I started talking. Who talks like that? It's kind of like Danhausen, huh? Anyway, if you're wanting to watch some New Japan Wrestling, we will leave a link in the description box down below. It is njpwworld.com. It is more than 999 yen. It's more like 15 Canadian. A Sean Spears and a half.
It's like I can't remember what it is in yen, but yeah, it's $9.99. It's $10 American.
10 American. There you go. Shout out Sean Spears. But it's like 15 Canadian, which is Sean Spears and a half. That is Konosuke Takeshita. It's not Sean Spears.
That is true.
If you're wanting to see some of the matches that you would be in store for, you can take a gander at their World TV titles or title matches, which are all free on NewJapanWorld.com. You can check out Zack Sabre Jr., you can check out Jeff Cobb. Matt Riddle's in there somewhere. We don't
El
really care, but he's there.
Phantasmo!
El Phantasmo, the current champion. You can watch him win the TV title, all that and more. Go check it out and then spend your money on it because it's totally worth it. Go find Dinosaur. Tell me when you found him.
I still can't find him.
I've literally given you the year at this point. I've given you the months also.
No, you didn't. You told me find it myself.
2017, November, December.
Okay, I'll go look at that right
You
now.
have been told.
Okay.
Where are we going from here? Is that everything? Andre, my trusted friend and colleague. Do you have anything else to say to the beautiful people?
Again, I want to say thank you all for tuning in. If you're listening to A Plus Productions, thank you so very much. And if you do want to hear us on the audio form, aplusproductions.com, add us to your podcast catcher feed. Please give us a 5-star review on whatever podcast catcher you are listening to us on, especially if you are on iTunes or on or Spotify. Please give us a 5-star review. Also, if you are watching on YouTube, thank you so very much for tuning in, whether it's backbreaker video, whether it's Andre Melball Talk. Thank you so much. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment down below. Don't forget to share us out to your friends, family, and just the weird little people that just make you smile on a daily basis. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so you can be alerted every time we drop a new video.
Hello.
Hello.
And that being said, I am your Melball. Over there is Andre. We will see you next time. Adios.